I think they've been making him think about it. I'd be surprised if he goes, because he loves to. Oh yeah, just call me tomorrow. We'll get you done. It won't take long.
Good evening. Our June 13, 2022 meeting is now called to order. I want to remind everybody to please silence all cell phones. We will proceed with prayer and then the Pledge of Allegiance. Let us stand for prayer. Let us pray. Gracious God, our Father, we come before you tonight thanking you for this day that you have allowed us to live. Lord God, we thank you now that you would guide us, that you would lead us as we proceed to take care of the business of this great city. And even as we are looking ahead and we're thinking about some important freedom days in this nation's history, we thank you now for the freedom that you have allowed to all of the residents who live in this great city. We give you praise now. In your Son, Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next item on the agenda, reading and approval of the minutes from our May 23rd, 2022 meeting.
May I make a motion that we dispense with the reading of the minutes of May 23rd and ask that it be approved?
Second.
All right, motion has been made and seconded. Comments or questions, council? All right, are there any public comments or questions about this particular motion? Seeing none, Mrs. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
P.T.
Yes.
All righty, that motion carries. Next item on the agenda, we have a special guest with us today, Ms. Rashida Dawson. No, that's wrong. Oh, Rashida Dawson. Okay, that kind of threw me off there. All right. They were with us a couple months back and are able to be with us here today to give us some more information about the Bank On program, and just asking that you would give her your undivided attention. And please, Ms. Dawson, like last time, state your first and last name before you proceed.
Absolutely. My name is Rashida Dawson, and I'm the Vice President of Financial Stability for United Way of Northwest Louisiana. I'm also the nonprofit manager for the Shreveport Financial Empowerment Center, and I am based in Shreveport, Louisiana. It's great to see everybody. So I just want to first off and say thank you, Mayor Williams, for allowing me to come back and to speak, and then also to the City Council as well. I promise I'm not going to bore you too much because clearly you can tell I am not a boring person because I threw you off. It's okay. I'm sorry. But as far as Bank On, when we came with United Way of Northwest Louisiana, we are a nonprofit organization. But most people do not realize that United Way does cover 10 parishes throughout the Northwest Louisiana region. And we have so many different programs, but a lot of our cities and a lot of our parishes don't even know what we have to offer. So United Way does fight for the health, education, financial stability, and essential needs of every person. And the purpose of me coming to here today is to talk about an exciting program that we're going to expand to this area for the purpose of financial literacy. And I also want to make sure that I make it clear to not only City Council, but to our constituents, don't worry, I'm not going to ask for any money. So you don't have to worry about that. I think everybody could be happy about that, right? Right. Okay. So what is Bank On Northwest Louisiana? Bank On is a financial literacy program. And what we do is that our purpose is to help the unbanked and the underbanked population to have safe and affordable access to bank accounts. A lot of people do not realize, but about a third of our state is considered as unbanked or underbanked. So unbanked is when you don't have an account, and underbanked is when you have an account, but you're still using those places like predatory lending practices, pawn shops, which is very prevalent inside of our community. The last time that I was here, I gave people a little tidbit about what payday lending does inside of our community and how prevalent it is. But I also want to make sure that I'm also bringing financial awareness to this area. So this particular program did start as a pilot program in the city of Shreveport back in 2013. I cannot believe it, but we'll be 10 years old next year, and it's pretty big. But we do focus with our banks and credit union partners to bring safe and affordable access and then financial literacy opportunities. This model was based off of a national initiative that was established in San Francisco, and now it is a national initiative with the Cities for Financial Empowerment Fund. And we go to the next slide. Thank you. So why was Bank On created? As I stated, there was an increased number of unbanked and underbanked residents. Especially in this area, it's about 30%. In Natchitoches, that is considered as unbanked and underbanked. We also knew in Louisiana we had a growing payday lending problem. And just to give you a tidbit, I want to know if anybody remembers, but for a 2-week $100 payday loan, the annual percentage rate for that 2-week $100 payday loan legally in the state of Louisiana can go up to 782%. So there was legislation that recently was put on the books down in Baton Rouge, but unfortunately it got shut down so we can be able to lower the APR. But think about how 782% can truly affect a family, okay? And then also we want to create asset building opportunities, building savings accounts. There's not many people who can honestly say that they can save up $500 or they have $500 already saved in their accounts because so many people are living paycheck to paycheck. And then also we want to provide increased access and use of free financial counseling. We can go to the next slide. I did briefly talk about these statistics last time, but when it comes to United Way, we focus on ALICE and those below. But ALICE is considered as asset limited, income constrained employed. And those are the hardworking people that you see every single day that work paycheck to paycheck, but they can't make ends meet. And so basically in Natchitoches Parish, 66% are considered as ALICE and below. So that's those who are basically a little bit above the threshold of the federal poverty rate, and then those who are in the federal poverty rate. Alarming, correct? All right, we can go to the next slide. And as far as in Natchitoches, Louisiana, specifically, 74% is considered as ALICE and below. Next slide. And in Natchitoches, Louisiana, the great thing that I wanted to share is that yes, unbanked individuals have gone down in the past 2 years, which was great because before it was about 19.8%, and now we're at 4.7%. The reason for that definitely was when we went in COVID and people had to have access to get, their stimulus payments, those EIP payments. So that did go down, but underbanked still went up. So we can tell that people are still using those services that I spoke of. Now, the background of Bank On Northwest Louisiana, about a third of Shreveport's population were considered as unbanked and or underbanked. And like I said, we launched in October of 2013. We had 13 bank and credit union partners, and we also have over 20 additional partners, and we opened over 900 accounts during our first year of a pilot stage. Oh, wait, is that the one? Is the next one? Is that the one? That's next? Okay. All right, awesome. So making this successful, so I have said that this is an initiative, it's a coalition between banks, credit unions, federal regulators, and community partners to bring something like this to a reality. So what we do is that we combine financial literacy with our banks and credit union partners, and we bring this to the community. So we have a grassroots approach with marketing and outreach. And then we like to open up accounts on site where people are located, because why? Some people are very intimidated to come into a financial institution. It's best for us to go out into the community with constituents and be able to offer those services to them. It gives them an opportunity to not only meet the bankers and the credit unions, but to also build a relationship with the community and learn what their needs are. And then also we provide financial education workshops. One thing that we do is that we do workshops at events, but then also we provide financial education opportunities absolutely for free for companies. So say, for instance, for the summer youth program, that would be a great opportunity for us to do for next year, is to start talking to our youth about their finances and even possibly doing a simulation project of how they can really know what it's like to pay bills. And I think that we all can use that knowledge very early, all right? And then integration is also a huge thing for us. Integration, integration, integration. There is no purpose for anyone to have to worry about, hey, can we bring financial education into my church or into my community? How can we do that? With the Bank On initiative, this is something that we can do. And so our successes, since we've been able to start this initiative, we have been able to open up over 5,500 accounts for those who are primarily in the Shreveport-Bossier City area. And that's just for our partners who actually go ahead and let us know what those numbers are through the Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas. We've maintained a strong partnership with government municipality. We still have an incredible relationship with the city of Shreveport and been able to increase our footprint to be able to offer free financial counseling for one-on-one. And then also we conduct over 250 outreaches and workshops, and that is me only accounting for a 3-year period in which I was at each and every single outreach and workshop, and that does not include presentations. And then also we have steadily maintained at least 10 of our inaugural bank and credit union partners since we began. Next slide. So what are our next steps that we're going to do here? We wanted to make sure that we came to this city council meeting to let you know that we are expanding this program. Oh, can you go ahead, baby? And then also the next step is going to be to set up Bank On roundtables. We're going to have a roundtable with not only community partners, but also our financial institutions. And then we're going to solidify partnerships by late fall this year, because we want to make sure that we know and we meet and greet and see what the needs are in this community before we start. And then we're going to make a formal announcement about our expansion, and we're going to be able to start the services for Natchitoches in January of 2023. And with that, does anyone have any questions? I tried to make it really quick.
Any questions from members of the council? And I guess, Ms. Dawson, so Bank On getting people to basically have a bank account.
Yes,
right?
the purpose of Bank On is to make sure people have a bank account, safe and affordable bank account, but then also alleviate individuals from going to predatory financial services, because that's a huge thing right now. People are still using payday loan places and pawn shops, and that's putting them in so much more debt than what they would have if they could utilize formal and regular financial institution services. And then also financial education as well.
All right, awesome. Any public comments or questions for Ms. Dawson? Thank you again, Ms. Dawson. We really appreciate
Thank
you
you.
being here. We'll talk as well, and the information you forwarded, sent over to the council. So, and I think they have your email address as well. So, council, if there are any questions that come up, certainly reach out to Ms. Dawson.
Thank you.
Thank you again, ma'am. We really appreciate it. All right, moving on to ordinances for final. Councilman Nielsen, this is ordinance number 35 of 2022.
Thank you, Mayor. And I'll read it in title only as it's up for final. An ordinance authorizing the issuance by the City of Natchitoches, State of Louisiana, of its taxable utilities revenue bonds, Series 2022, in an amount not to exceed $935,000, prescribing the form, terms, and conditions of said bonds, providing for the payment thereof, entering into certain other covenants and agreements in connection with the security and payment of said bonds, selling said bonds to the Clean Water State Revolving Fund, authorizing the execution of a loan and pledge agreement and other loan documents with the Louisiana Department of Environmental Quality, providing for the delivery of the bonds to said department, and providing for other matters in connection therewith. And I move that we adopt ordinance number 35 of 2022.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded.
Ronnie, I got one question. We should have had, let's see,
It's under introduction, what you're looking for?
right, it's on the introduction. So this ordinance here, if you look in the second page, we need to make some adjustments to the ordinance from DEQ. So we put this on for introduction on number 38. And this one that's on final, and my fault, I should have just told the clerk to actually pass this one, table this one, because we made some adjustments to the ordinance.
So the one we really want is number 38.
Yeah, for introduction.
Okay.
38 for introduction.
Yes, so I apologize.
And 36, 35 for the.
Yeah.
So what's our appropriate move? Is it to table it? If we're not going to go back and get it, so, because we got number 38.
We got number 38, so we can.
Seems like there's a motion to remove?
Second.
So you're saying what's for introduction 38 will,
Is the
We'll
updated
replace-
one?
yes, so.
Number
we'll update,
35,
okay,
yes.
okay. So this will just die, 35 will just die?
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay.
So can we just skip it, or we need to have a motion on it?
I'm okay with that if ever,
Can I make a motion that we remove ordinance
remove it.
number 35? I'll make a motion that we remove ordinance number 35.
Second.
Works? Okay?
Yeah.
And for everything that was just mentioned, I don't know if you have any additional questions, council? Okay? Any public comments or questions? Okay, seeing none. Ms. Stacy, roll call vote?
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
PT,
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. Moving on to the next item on the agenda, which is for final, for real.
Is it
All
for
right.
real?
It's Councilwoman at-large Smith.
Any changes before I read this?
No, you're free to
Okay.
read it.
I'm going to read the title on this. This is ordinance number 36 of 2022, which is an ordinance to designate funds from the American Rescue Plan for use by the city of Natchitoches to provide assistance to households in maintaining housing stability and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. And this ordinance was advertised on May 23rd, 2022, and published in the Natchitoches Times on May 26th, 2022. And this is to help with utilities throughout the city. And I move for adoption of ordinance number 36 of 2022.
I second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. Council, any comments or questions at this particular time about ordinance number 36?
I'll make one comment, that I just wanted to be known and state on the record that this is solely to help the residents in need, and this is going to be done in a way where the city, we're not going to make any money off this. We're not going to receive any profit from these funds. This is going to be done in a way only to help the residents, not to help the city pockets. So we're not going to get anything from this. I just wanted to state that on the record. It's going to be, and am I correct on this? And it's going to be done in a way that we don't receive any profit from it, like we do from our normal utility bills that citizens pay.
No, because this is opera money. This is money we're using to help the citizens, so no, we should not receive it.
That's right. I just want to make that comment.
Appreciate you, Councilman Harrington, for that comment, and it's noted on the record. Any other comments, questions, council? Okie dokie. What about public comments or questions on ordinance number 36? All right, seeing none. Mrs. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes,
Harrington.
Yes.
PT.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. We'll notice in public accordingly. Next item on the agenda, we have a couple ordinances for introduction, and Councilman Harrington is reading ordinance number 37 of 2022.
This is ordinance number 37 of 2022, an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Natchitoches, Ronnie Williams, to execute a lease with the option to purchase for the lease and eventual purchase of tract located at 1608 Texas Street from John Berry Gillette, said lease providing for a 3-year term with an option to purchase at any time during the term of the lease, to provide for advertising and a savings clause. And I'll let you, Mayor, to go into more detail what this one's about.
Thank you, Councilman, for reading that title. For, I guess I can say, almost a year, probably better than a year, we've been looking, and I think even prior to me becoming mayor, the city had been looking for a permanent place for public works. We examined a building on the bypass that really didn't work or fit for us. And I think I shared with each of the council members, if I didn't have a physical copy, but as we talk about costs and what it costs to build today, which has been some, discussion, we did get a quote, looked at the size that Public Works would need to build on some already, some previously, land that is owned by the city already, so we wouldn't have to purchase the land. And that quote, just for the record, came to $4,267,000 to give them the space they need in today's market and all of that. So looking at, the pre-existing property we tried to purchase and looking at what it would cost to build, in that process, the old John Deere building became available after it was, previously under contract. And it just worked out for us in terms of timing. For whatever reason, the people who had that building under contract didn't go through with it. And I really see this as a win-win for the city. You'll notice, I think the agreed purchase price is $512, $500, I believe.
520,000.
Well, that's the, I don't think that was the agreed upon price. Wasn't it 512? 512, 500, I believe.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, 512, 500 is the agreed upon price, and you can see in your notes. 512, 500. So $512,500. Yeah. And so you could see, council, I think near the end of this is a lease purchase agreement, so how that kind of breaks down. So again, I think it's a win-win because we get Public Works a permanent place, kind of put them in the same area. We've got utility there off of Dixie. We've got purchasing on Sabine, and you have Public Works in that general area in a building that's already built. I think a price that works for us. There will need to be some work, and I think we're currently looking at some pricing in terms of some work that needs to happen. Of course, that would be done in phases, whatever we do. But, and I certainly want to say, council, if you want to take a look, this has just been introduced today, but if you want to, I think we have a way to get the keys to the building, even though it's not ours now. Take a look, go see it, and sometimes that helps. And I say win-win, and I want you to ask questions and certainly make comments, because we are also trying to see the Mill District develop. And with what's going on, even before, I think it's Flying Heart that's coming, we knew that a way to see the Mills District really reach its full potential is by having a permanent home for Public Works outside of the Mill District. for obvious reasons. Number one is parking. Parking is already somewhat of a challenge there, and with Public Works not there, it will make parking even better. So I think it's going to help both economic corridors, which is what I believe we all want to see happen. So any comments or questions, Council?
Yes, Mayor, I have a question. I'm trying to understand this, looking over it. Harrington didn't read everything, but on here, as I was looking at it, the first year is $210,000, and then the second year, $180,000. And then the third year, $122,500, which is correct, $512,500. And then reading further in here, it says that the appraisal value is $520,000. Is that what they're wanting to sell it for, or is it more than that?
Based on our independent appraisal, Mr. Borderline, the value of that property came to $520,000. So what that means is that, obviously the city can't, purchase more than appraised value, but the deal we have is nearly $8,000, $7,500 under the appraised value.
Yes, $7,500. So that was my question. If we went up another step, we could purchase that? That's what I'm asking.
I'm sorry, say that again?
If we went up another $7,500, we could actually purchase the building?
Well, we're going to purchase it at the end of this really 2-year period, right? 3 payments, 2 years. So we're going to own it in 2 years. And we've done, maybe Randy could speak. I know you've maybe have some recollection of previous times that we've done a deal like this. So, but I guess to answer you, Councilwoman at large, yeah, for a lesser amount than it appraised for.
We can purchase it.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're
That was my
gonna,
question.
the city is gonna be the owner in, 2024?
That's great. Okay.
Okay. Any other comments or questions?
I got a question. How much of that space is like a part of that purchase? Because like right beside, there's like a tan building. That metal building, is that a part of that John Deere, that purchase? It's kind of to the left of that building.
If you're facing it, it's to the left. I believe the building you're talking about, yeah, we will. And I think it'll do us some good to, we didn't have pictures. I typically like to get pictures, but again, it'll do some good for us, for council members who want to go see the space for a little bit.
I'd like to go.
Okay, great. Ed or Randy, do you remember how many acres we have?
It's a little over 6 acres, Mayor, and if you'll look at it from Texas Street facing the facility, there's a new metal building, which is a church, and it goes over to their property line, and it wraps the backside of the church and goes over several hundred feet more behind it. And then it goes all the way back to the lots at front on Sabine on the backside, that whatever the lot depth of that residential lot, we go all the way to the back of that. It's a large site.
So it will accompany all our trucks and that type of stuff. That's what I worry about, the big trucks. Good.
And even with the
Parking.
improvements we have to make, this, once those improvements are done, still would be more economical, I guess I should say, for the city than the property we were looking at on bypass, and if we were to build from the ground up. So it'd still be a better situation for us.
Better fit.
Ms. Roy, come on, you can do it for me. I appreciate it. I love it.
Making her get her exercise.
What are you going to do with the old site, and exactly what it all is included in the Public Works Department?
Right, and just for the record, I want you to state your first and last name.
Oh, Carolyn Roy, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Carolyn
so you said,
Roy.
what are we doing with the old site?
Yes.
So we've gone through, so far, appraisal of the buildings. We have also looked at the RFP process. We're engaging a firm for a feasibility study of that particular property. So the hope is to market the building where, Public Works actually took up is currently using about 4 of the buildings, I want to say, in that Mill District site. So yeah, with the hope, there has been, a few years ago, some architect by the name of Andrew Baquet did sort of a plan of what the Mill District can be. So, you know, I would certainly want that to be the end result of not just the Flying Heart business there, but other businesses there. We've been engaged in some conversations with several local business people, but the hope is to market those buildings for people to make that
You hope to sell it then?
yeah, make what's on paper a reality. Make that a thriving economic corridor with not only the brew pub that's going there, but, you know, whatever it could be. I mean, we've talked about so many different possibilities, but whether it's a place where kids could have like an arcade experience, that would be my dream, to have something like that. But obviously, we need entrepreneurs to see it as a viable space, and I think it is. You know, I think really any investment in Natchitoches is good, but I think that one is good, especially what we have in terms of the Flying Heart. Everything I've heard about them has been great. Yeah, so anything, any of the department heads who've been involved with the Mill District, anything to add there? Okay. All right. Thank you, Ms. Roy. Any other public comments or questions? Okay, seeing none, again, this is for introduction to council. We want to make those, make that happen where you all can go and see it, because I know sometimes seeing it really makes all the difference. So we want to make that happen, all right? All right, moving on to the next item on the agenda, which is introduction as well. It's ordinance number 38, and that's Councilman Petey.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number 38 of 2022, a third supplemental bond ordinance authorizing the issuance by the City of Natchitoches, State of Louisiana, of its taxable utilities revenue bonds, Series 2022, in an amount not to exceed $935,000, prescribing the form, terms, and conditions of said bonds, providing for the payment thereof, entering into certain other covenants and agreements in connection with the security and payment of said bonds, selling said bonds to the Clean Water State Revolving Fund, authorizing the execution of a loan and pledge agreement and other loan documents with the Louisiana Department of Environmental Quality, providing for the delivery of the bonds to that said department, and providing for other matters in connection therewith. And this is for introduction.
All right, Alex, can you give us some specifics as to why this one and not the other one?
Yeah, within our general bond ordinance, it mentions that we could issue bonds in the series ordinance, or we can do it as a third supplemental bond ordinance, which you heard PT read at the title. So he asked that the DEQ council asked that we change it to a third supplemental bond ordinance as opposed to a series ordinance.
Okay.
What's the difference?
And before you answer that, Mr. Washington, can you move the microphone a little closer to your mouth, sir?
Just certain categories, plus the DEQ council, in order for your document to get approved, he has to sign off on it. So if he suggests that you change it to an article that he believes it applies under, you know, that's what we do. So we changed it.
And who is he? You said he.
Adam and Reese Law Firm, the counsel for the state asked that we change it to a third supplemental bond ordinance. Yeah. Which is, you know, within the general bond ordinance, to give you an option to make it a series ordinance, which outlines everything about the bond, or a supplemental ordinance, which means that the next time we issue bonds underwater, it would be a fourth ordinance, so you can actually track each transaction.
Okay. Answer your question? All right, any other comments, questions, council?
And let me say, it doesn't affect the amount, the rate, all the terms that we discussed before will continue to be the same.
Okay, any public comments or questions about this ordinance being introduced? Okay, again, it's being introduced today, and so it'll be up for a vote on June 27th. Next item is also introduction. It's ordinance number 39 of 2022, and that's Councilman Harrington.
Ordinance number 39 of 2022, an ordinance to designate funds from the American Rescue Plan for use by the city of Natchitoches to provide funding for infrastructure improvements and otherwise provide with respect thereto. And whereas the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, enacted by the 117th Congress of the United States of America, appropriated $1,500,000 to the state of Louisiana, which was then appropriated to the city for the purpose of providing funding for government services that may have seen a shortfall of revenue funding them due to the COVID-19 pandemic, including but not limited to funding transportation infrastructure projects up to the amount of the city's revenue loss. And this is for introduction only.
Okie dokie, and we knew, well, we've known for over a year, because I think this passed the Congress in March of 2021, and the Treasury came back and made some adjustments after hearing from thousands of municipalities throughout the United States. And I think what is really helpful to municipalities is what's in the final rule known as a standard allowance, which allows municipalities to use American Rescue Plan money, also known as ARPA, up to $10 million. Now, municipality like ours, we're getting 6.4 million and a little bit more than 6.4 million, so we don't have to necessarily worry about the up to 10 million because we don't have it, our money is not greater than 10 million. But it allows municipalities to use those funds for general municipal services, if you will. And one of the things that municipalities do with their funds, or should do with their funds, is rehabilitate streets. Now, I know it seems like there's never enough money for street rehabilitation. So one of the things I think, Council, we talked about is to use some of the ARPA funds for streets, and this 1.5 certainly is a number. It's a good number. It's better than nothing, but obviously I know we wish we could have more to do it. So just want to go ahead now and allow ARPA to satisfy phase 1 of this fiscal year to address those streets that are coming here pretty soon, or those streets that we're going to rehab soon. All right, so I don't know if there are any questions or comments. Again, this is for introduction, but any questions or comments about this particular piece?
Well, I just want to say, I know we're supposed to have any work been started yet on the streets? I know we said June, and we're almost into July.
Right, June 1 was the tentative start date. I did receive a message because I asked Mr. Verrett, and it's going to be obviously later than June 1, and we want to put out something because I think we're pretty, okay. All right. Yeah, I'm not seeing it in this particular message here. Okay. All right, so yeah, last thing we left off on is he was going to double check with them, and this was just a few days ago that he was going to do it. I know he says around the middle of the month in that text, but he was going to get back with Williams Construction to see. Obviously, we're at the middle of the month, so, but I'll certainly let you know, Council, and then also let the public know when we're going to start the first round of street rehabilitation, the streets that have already been approved, as we've mentioned a couple times before. So when I have a more firm date, I'll share that out with you all and then share it out with the general public as well, and specifically those residents who are going to be directly impacted by this next round of streets.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Any other comments or questions from the council? What about public comments in terms of this particular piece? Okay, seeing none, again, it'll be voted on at our next city council meeting. Next item on the agenda or next few items, I should say, are resolutions. And there are typical June housekeeping resolutions that we deal with. So the first one is Resolution number 49 of 2022, and that's Councilwoman Washington Eli.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution number 049 of 2022, a resolution fixing the time, day, date, and place of a regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Natchitoches for the next 12 months. I'm going to basically explains itself, but I'm going to read a little bit of it. Be resolved by the City Council of the City of Natchitoches, the regular session convened that accordance with the Section 209 of the Home Rule Charter of the City of Natchitoches, that the City Council of the City of Natchitoches will meet regular for sessions at 5:30 p.m. on the second and the fourth Mondays of each month for the next 12 months. And be further resolved that the special meeting will be held accordance with the revision of the section of 209 of the Home Rule Charter, further provided by the notice of the special meeting to be posted of a principal office of the city no less than 48 hours in advance of the said meeting. I move to adopt resolution number 049 for 2022.
Second.
Oh, we got a motion and second. I was hoping we were going to move it back to 7 o'clock on Mondays, but I think Councilman Nielsen and I were talking. It used to be a little bit later previously. But we got a motion and second. Any comments or questions, Council? Any public comments or questions? Basically, it's to keep our meetings as we've been having them, 5:30 on the second and fourth Mondays of the month. All right, seeing none, Mrs. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
PT,
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. Next item is Resolution number 50 of 2022. That's Councilman PT.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution number 50 of 2022, a resolution establishing meeting times and places of Natchitoches Planning Commission, Historic District Commission, Airport Advisory Commission, and Waterworks District Number 1. Whereas state law requires that notice of meetings of governing bodies and agencies thereof must be published in accordance with the provisions of Louisiana RS 427. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Natchitoches that the Planning Commission of the City of Natchitoches shall meet in regular session at 5 p.m. on the first Tuesday of each month at the City of Natchitoches Council Chambers. Be it further resolved that the Historic District Commission for the City of Natchitoches shall meet at 5 p.m. on the first Monday of each month at the City of Natchitoches Council Chambers. Be it further resolved that the Airport Advisory Commission will meet at 5 p.m. on the third Monday of each month except December at the Natchitoches Regional Airport Terminal. Be it further resolved that the Waterworks District Number 1 shall meet at 5:30 p.m. on the third Monday of each month at the Thomas Building, located at 560 2nd Street. And I so move that resolution number 50 be adopted.
Second.
All right, motion been made and seconded. Any comments or questions, Council? Okay, seeing there's no comments or questions from the Council. Any public comments or questions? All right, seeing none, Ms. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
PT,
Yes.
All right, that motion carries as well. Next item on the agenda is read by Councilwoman at-large Smith, and it is Resolution number 51 of 2022.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution number 51 of 2022 is a resolution appointing Stacy McCrary as Clerk of the Council for the City of Natchitoches. Be it resolved that the City Council does hereby take cognizance of the recommendation of Mayor Ronnie Williams, Jr. that Stacy McCrary be appointed as Clerk of the Council for the City of Natchitoches in accordance with the Section 2.08 of the Home Rule Charter, and it is further resolved that the City Council hereby confirms the said appointment, And Mayor, I so move that resolution number 51 of 2022 be adopted.
I second.
All right, motion been made and second to appoint Mrs. Stacy McQuarrie, excuse me, as the clerk of the council. All right, any comments or questions, council?
I'm glad she's willing to take it. Does a wonderful job.
Yes.
Okay. Any additional comments or questions, council? Public comments, questions? Okey dokey, Mrs. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
PT,
Yes.
I was a little nervous, Stacy. All right. Next item on the agenda is resolution number 52 of 2022, and that motion carries, of course. I wasn't surprised at all, by the way. All right, but resolution number 52 of 2022, that's Councilman PT.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution number 52 of 2022, a resolution appointing the auditor for the city of Natchitoches. Be it resolved that the city council does hereby take cognizance of the recommendation of Mayor Ronnie Williams, Jr., that the firm of Thomas, Cunningham, Broadway, and Tolliver be appointed as city auditor for the city of Natchitoches for the period of May 31st, 2022 through May 31st, 2023. And be it further resolved that the city council hereby confirms the said appointment. I so move that resolution number 52 be adopted.
Second.
All right, motion been made and seconded. Any comments or questions, council, about this? All right, any public comments or questions about resolution number 52? All right, any? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
PT,
Yes.
All right, that motion carries as well. Next item on the agenda is resolution number 53 of 2022. That's Councilwoman Washington Eli.
Thank you. Resolution number 53 of 2022, a resolution appointing the official agent for the city of Natchitoches. Be resolved that the ordinance number 037 of 2018 of the Natchitoches City Council awards Sabine State Bank to the contract of the official agent for the city of Natchitoches, and be further resolved that the city does hereby take convenience of the recommendation of Mayor Ronnie Williams, Jr., the Sabine State Bank of Natchitoches, Louisiana, be appointed as the official agent for the city of Natchitoches for the term June 1st of 2022 through May 31st of 2023. And I move to adopt resolution numbers 053 of 2022.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Comments, questions, council, about this particular item, fiscal agent, Sabine State Bank? Any public comments or questions? All righty. And just for the record, Ms. Stacy, this one is typically there's a 5-year relationship?
I tried to find the agreement, I'm looking for it.
Okay.
But I think it's a 5-year, Ed. Do you recall an RFP, is it a 5-year?
Yeah, I've done the RFP. I'm gonna look for it tomorrow.
Yeah, and so we did an ordinance in 2018 naming them our physical agent. So this is just confirming we're
What was
still
done
using
then.
them and, yeah.
Okay. And so we'll have to go through the RFP process next year, because that'll be year 5, right?
Well, this was passed in 2018, but I don't think it started until 19.
Oh, okay.
Our physical agent in 19. So,
Okay.
So it's got another 5 years,
Yeah,
is what you're
5
saying?
years from 19.
No, not another 5 years, maybe
No,
another 2
no,
years.
starting from 2019.
2019,
Yes.
okay.
So it'll be up again in 2024.
Yeah, and I don't know how the agreement reads, or, if it's just, we can just keep continuing, letting them know that we want to continue that. I'm not quite sure. Ed would have to elaborate on that.
No, that's right. We do an RFP process, and I think it's every 5 years. It's so seldom, I don't remember the exact term on it. And we, receive proposals from different local banks in this area, and they both, try to get the city's business. And then once we receive the RFP, an ordinance is done awarding the banking for the city of Natchitoches. And again, I'll have to confirm that it's 5 years
Yeah, well, I guess my point was to say we still have some years left.
Yeah, I
on this
think we still
particular
have some
resolution.
time.
This is just confirming that we're still using
Gotcha.
Savannah State Bank as our physical agent.
All right, we asked for public comments already, right? Public comments? Okey dokey. Seeing none. Mrs. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Harrington?
Yes.
PT?
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. And the one Ms. Roy has been waiting for, resolution number 54 of 2022. That's you, Councilman Nielsen.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution number 54 of 2022 is a resolution designating the Natchitoches Times as the official legal journal for the city of Natchitoches for the next 12 months. Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Natchitoches in regular session convened that the Natchitoches Times is hereby designated as the official legal journal for the city of Natchitoches for the next 12 months. And I move to adopt resolution number 54 of 2022.
Second.
All right, motion been made and second. Just for the little bit that I do know about this, it has to be an actual newspaper, printed newspaper that is the journal. That's the way state law reads. Okay? Any questions or comments, council, about this? All right. Any public comments about this particular piece?
I'm Carolyn Roy. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Keep you working, huh?
No, seriously, there have been some challenges. Some people have tried to change it, so. Any other public comments? All right, seeing none, roll call vote.
Eli?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Harrington?
Yes.
PT?
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. Last voting item on the agenda is a resolution, is Resolution 55 of 2022, read by Councilman Harrington.
This is Resolution 55 of 2022, a resolution authorizing the City of Natchitoches, Parish of Natchitoches, State of Louisiana, to incur debt and to issue not to exceed $2 million aggregate principal amount of revenue bonds and one or more series, providing certain terms of said bonds, making application to the State Bond Commission, employing bond counsel and other professionals, and otherwise providing with respect thereto. One second, this is for the purpose of providing funding for the extension and improvement of a movable property, including its component parts, improvements, and ancillary other constructions permanently attached to the ground, commonly referred to as the Texas and Pacific Railway Depot, a work of public improvement owned by the city, and paying the cost of issuance of the bonds. I move to adopt resolution number 55 of 2022.
Second.
All right, motion has been made and seconded. I tell you what, we do have Mr. Bill Bowles. Is that right? I'm sorry?
Yes, sir.
Okay, he's here today. He's a part of this, the bond transaction for the city. And Mr. Bowles, will you state your first and last name and just kind of explain what's going on?
Yes, sir. William Bowles, 1818 Avenue of America, Monroe, Louisiana, 71201. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council and clerk and council, Washington. I'm Bill Bowles, commonly referred to as a bond attorney, and what we do is try to mystify that whole process so we can confuse everybody. No, I'm just kidding. Hopefully I'll be explaining very simply. And first of all, I want to thank the clerk and your council working really hard with us to get all the information that we need in this process. But what you have before you today is a resolution just authorizing preliminary approval for us to engage our firm to go to the bond commission, supply them the information they need to look over this transaction to allow us to issue not exceeding $2 million in revenue bonds. We, in the bond world at Louisiana, we talk in terms of, in all bond world, we talk in terms of not exceeding. So the not exceeding means we won't issue $1 more in bonds than is necessary. So it may be less than 2 million. So it depends on what the project costs are. So, and then the other thing you see in the interest rate, not to exceed 6% fixed or 8% if it's fluctuating. Have to have enough cushion in there when it goes up, but we hope to do a lot better than that. So if you see those in there, know those aren't final numbers. We'll have to come back to you for an ordinance. This just gives preliminary approval. You can pull the plug on it at any time without any obligation to any of the people, the financial advisor, Mr. Thompson, or myself. We only get paid if you elect to move forward. And so this is just we know you're already engaged in doing this, so this allows us to move forward and get the formal consent of the Louisiana State Bond Commission, come back to you for an ordinance that'll be introduced and then finally adopted, if that is the council's pleasure. We'll be working with the bank. Alex has been working with the bank along with Mr. Thompson to find the right institution. Rather than get into that, we think we'll have what I talked to you about, a win-win deal. That's good for them and good for the city. The security for this is what we would used to call excess revenues, but we just call revenues now, and that's anything that's not dedicated otherwise. So it gives the bank a good sense that it's that they have sufficient collateral on this, but it also allows us in structuring it this way to get a better rate from the bank because their collateral position. So I was going to try to be as brief as I could since I'm the last thing on the agenda, but I couldn't be as brief as Ms. Roy. So
Council, do you have any questions or comments from Mr. Bowles? Are there any public comments or questions that should be directed toward Mr. Bowles? Okay, and if I heard you correctly, city's not spending any money at this point.
No,
Okay.
and you're not obligated to spend any money.
Gotcha.
It's totally just risk-free on your part to move forward. Only if you adopt an ordinance will you be committed to spending the monies for the professionals and for the project. And so we'll be back to you after we get bond commission approval for moving forward, because we know this is a project that's underway and you want to put it to bed as quick as you can.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be on the July bond commission agenda.
Okay.
That's what I wanted to add. The purpose is to get on the bond commission meeting. So that deadline, I believe, for July is June 21st. So we presented the presentation, financial structure to the bank proposal, waiting for them to give us a term sheet back, outlining the deal, and then the Bowles firm will submit that to the State Bond Commission.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, we're good, Council? All right. No comments, questions? Thank you, Mr. Bowles, for
Thank you, Mr.
driving
Mayor.
down.
Thank you for
Good
having
to
us
see you.
here.
Good to meet you, sir.
in Natchitoches.
All righty. Mrs. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
PT,
Yes.
All right, that motion carries as well. Our next city council meeting, as I mentioned a couple times today, will be on the 27th of June. And also the offices of the city of Natchitoches will be closed for this coming Friday, June 17th, in observance of Juneteenth. All right, I know some are taking the 20th, which is Monday, but we're taking the 17th. And I think there are a few more slides to kind of indicate some of the things that are going on. You may have seen this on the city's Facebook page. I think I've shared it. We've got it in our local publications, electronic and print. But we added this kind of recently, a coffee kickoff social at the Bread House Natchitoches. There'll be a speaker to talk about Juneteenth, but also to kind of share some stories of what people have done in the past to commemorate the holiday. From 10 a.m. until, we're thinking it's going to go around, I think, Kevin, 5:30 is what we're saying, maybe?
5:36, yes.
Okay. We do have another event that we want to make sure we get everybody out for, but around that time, I'm calling it the Juneteenth Basketball Classic, and we're going to start, kind of give us a little what's going on there. And I'll do the other game, though, but you tell us the other ones, okay?
We're going to start that morning with, we're going to open up with our Youth Summer League Jamboree is what it's going to be. We're going to bring our youth teams that are signed up for our city league. We're going to start playing about 10 a.m. and play a little abbreviated games throughout the day, probably 30 minutes in duration each game. And we're going to just move up in the age group until we get to the marquee matchup of the night. So,
Yeah, in the marquee matchup, we tried to get Eddie to come out of retirement for it, but I think he was a little scared. Also, PT didn't want it either. But some of us older ones, and we've been in better shape before. I say it like that, right? But I'll be playing a little bit. We've got the DA, Mr. Billy Joe Harrington. He's agreed. Pastor Small, Pastor Holden, Coach Gibson, the new NSU basketball coach, has agreed to play. Eloy, he chickened out on me as well. But we've got a few. We've got about 16 total. So 8 on one, 8 on the other. Look, I know I like to joke sometimes, but no lie. Michael Jordan has agreed to play with us. All right, he's coming out of retirement, and he's going to be in Natchitoches. And this is the same look I got from my church members on Sunday. But Michael Jordan, he's a real person. It's Mrs. Stacy's son-in-law, so he's going to play with us as well. Her daughter married, no lie, he married a Michael Jordan. And I know he gets it his whole life, poor thing, but he's a great fellow, and he's agreed to play with us. And I think Alex Washington as well is going to be out there. He's going to practice. So we're going to have some fun with that. Want people to come. Admission is totally free. Concessions will be sold. Donations will be accepted to go toward our track and field to help them out a little bit. So, of course, the history will be told as well. And we're going to recognize each of our sponsors who have made this possible. And then Saturday, we're going to have what we're calling the Juneteenth Festival. We've got local talent this year, but I think you want to come in here, each and every one of them. I think they're all talented and great. Tanner Holden and Company is the full name of that particular band. Then we have DJ Chris and On Point Band. All of these have some native ties with them. So that's going to start at 5 o'clock, and they're going to be food trucks, kids zone, if you will, I think a bouncing house, and also an obstacle course. There's also something going on. Please click to the next. Well, it's not the next one, but we'll get to it. Farmers Market will be Saturday. We'll go on as usual from 8 to 12. And Randy has said, I think, on a couple occasions, how well-attended Farmers Market has been. And so we're just grateful for everybody who plays a part. I took my daughter with me on Saturday, and normally when I go with one of the women in my family, I end up spending a lot of money. So I did that on Saturday past, but it was a really great day for the Farmers Market. I think the next slide is Farmers Market as well. Bluegrass theme this Saturday, contest on the cane coming up on the 25th. And that next slide. All right, here's the other thing that's happening on this Friday. Members of the community, including our council members, have to plan this from 5 to 8. So that's why we're trying to get the games ended so we can come right down, on MLK Drive. There's free food, entertainment, everyone is invited, voter registration, fun for all ages. So that's going to be going on. Guest speakers as well on Friday from 5 to 8. And everything just about admission is free. There will be food trucks. We're asking you to patronize those food trucks. There's going to be fireworks on Saturday, of course, as well. But when it comes to the food trucks, actually, you will patronize those food trucks. I don't know if there's another slide. All right. And what we want to go ahead and look, this Natchitoches is blessed for so many reasons. One of them, we are headquartered. What's headquartered here is the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. Obviously, we've got a great museum there. But happens every year, we get to, these sports folks come back in, and they come to the city of Natchitoches. And we have a really good class this year. Jairi Evans from the Saints, Who Dat Nation. I think we got Kyle Williams as well, played with LSU. We've got some other ones. They're telling me this Steve Duhan guy, he's a really great story as well, in addition to all of the others. So, again, but there are some free events. The welcome reception on Thursday the 23rd, it's totally free. There's food, there are drinks, there's a cocktail hour, I believe. Also, another free event is the Rockin' River Fest on that Friday. They have a great band coming, fireworks, and that's a free event for the public. And also on Saturday, the 25th, there's a junior training camp, I think ages 8 through 16. It's going to be at the rec center. They go to Turpin Stadium. So those 3 events are totally free to the public, the first 300 for the junior training camp. And I really want to challenge us as Natchitoches residents, don't just stay home, but let's really attend these events, especially the free ones. But if you want to go to the paid ones as well, do that. But especially the free ones, we need to show up for them. If we want these things, I'll just say it, we want these things to continue to happen here in our city, and I think it should. But I just want to make sure that all of us know about it so that we could attend these events and be present for us, because again, they don't cost us anything. All right? And I think that might be the last slide. Okay. All righty. So there was a lot on the announcements, heavy on the announcements. We got a lot going on. And I would say this, Councilwoman Lodge want to say something. I don't think we have up there yet, but Celebration on the Cane is happening as well. So really, the next 3 weeks are going to be busy. That's going to be July 2nd, fireworks, food trucks, great music. Kelly Roberts Band, I think. Is that the band? Is that the band, Randy?
I think so.
Kelly Roberts Band. So we're going to be really promoting that as well on July 2nd, Celebration on the Cane. So back to back to back, we've got some things going on in the city of Natchitoches. So get out and come out and show your face.
Great. Yeah, Mayor, I just want to add that on the Friday, June 17th event at the Ben Johnson Park, that we will have students there throughout the city of Natchitoches, different schools, various schools here in Natchitoches, just displaying their artwork. So just want to encourage the community to come out and support these young kids throughout the community. You can buy their art if you want to. You will be able to purchase their art. So we have the various schools, children from the various art departments and schools throughout Natchitoches. Thank you.
Thanks for
5
that.
p.m. Friday, Ben Johnson Park, MLK Drive.
All right, anything else, Council? We're all good? All right, this time we have motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, all in favor? Oh, we got the motion, we got the second, all in favor? Everybody said aye? All right, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, folks, have a good evening. See